At the October 27th City Council meetings, the Council gets a review of their immediate effect policies for ordinance changes, and they have a cute pedantic squabble. They hear from many citizens asking for leniency in a specific make safe or demolish order, and they hear about a disturbing racially charged incident at the Let's Community Center. Welcome to What Lansing Council, a podcast transforming Monday night's Lansing City Council meetings into an enthralling recap. I'm your host, Jill Dombrowski, and today my very special guest is Annescia Dillard. Annescia is a self-proclaimed Lansing enthusiast who keeps her finger on the city's pulse. She regularly watches or attends public meetings for the Lansing City Council, Lansing Community College, and the Capital Area Transit Authority, CATA Board, Lansing School District, and others whenever she finds the time. She enjoys visiting Lansing's many parks and finding the best vegan options in town. You might spot her around the city riding a CATA bus with a book in hand at the library or grabbing a chocolate croissant at Strange Matter before heading to work. Thanks so much for being on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really excited to be here, Jill.
And it was so great to have you at the meeting also.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're both soaking it in, taking notes.
Yes, we were.
Would you like to tell us, in your own words, how you would describe Lansing?
I've always said that Lansing is a little big city. You know, so many people say it's a small city, there's nothing to do, but it's kind of a big city. I feel like it has a big city feel, but it's smaller, you know? Mm-hmm. So I call Lansing a little big city.
Yeah. An approachable community.
Yeah.
And what are some other things that you love about Lansing?
Oh, man, I don't know how much time we have, but as you said, I'm a Lansing enthusiast, and so I just enjoy all the different things to know about Lansing, all the really cool things we have here. As a really big fan of CATA, all that CATA is doing to drive mobility, it's really exciting. I love the library. I love going to all of Lansing's 111 parks. Mm-hmm. And, we have a really great food scene, too, that people sleep on, I think. So I'm always really excited to try new places, and especially if they have really good vegan options. So, yeah, there's tons of stuff. Festivals, you name it. Yeah.
Great. And what are some things that you would love to see change about Lansing?
Yeah, I think the more people are involved and the more people know, the better we could do. So I feel like it was really inspiring to see so many folks at last night's meeting to support, like you said, the make safe or demolish, to support that person in trying to get that rescinded. So when we are civically engaged, I think is important. And so, if there's something that people are passionate about, I would love to see them really look into what those board meetings are, or what their governance is, or how to get involved, and just to keep on the pulse of it. Mm-hmm. I think that really makes a big difference.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think people do have kind of a mental barrier, like, oh, if I say something, is it going to be right? Am I going to be contacting the right people?
Right.
Is it going to make a difference? And I get some people reach out to me just because I've been doing this podcast, being a little more civically engaged. Oh, what should I do? It's just do it. Because the first time you say something is probably not going to make a difference, but the more practice you get, the more you can be the squeaky wheel, the more people are going to take notice. So you just got to start and just keep on keeping on. Yeah,
and I agree with you. The first time you say something, it might not land, it might not resonate, but you say it a few more times. I call it a little accessibility tour. I've been going to some of the meetings and talking about the accessibility of their meetings, so people who are watching virtually or from home, that they can still really be a part of it and everything like that. So I'm trying to be the squeaky wheel for that, so that way more folks can be involved and engaged.
Yeah, thanks for doing that. And I know you've made a few meetings at council, so good job getting up there. Yeah. You know what it's like to be under the lights.
Yes, those lights are hot. Yes.
All right, let's get into it. So we were at the meetings on October 27th, and all council members were there for both meetings. We had Ryan Cost, who is our president from the 1st Ward, Jeremy Garza of the 2nd Ward, Adam Hussein of the 3rd Ward, Brian T. Jackson of the 4th Ward, and our current at-large members are Jeffrey Brown, Tamara Carter, Vice President, Trini Pelivanoglu, and Peter Spatafor. Also at this first meeting is the recording secretary, Sherry Boak, Greg Venker, the city attorney, and Mark Lawrence on behalf of the mayor. He's the mayor's chief of staff. So to open, we had one public comment, and this person had some concerns about Peckham Vocational Industries And they were there asking council to approve their request for a local nonprofit status. So they're already a 501c3 federal nonprofit, but there's some sort of red tape hoops they have to jump through to do something that I'll get to in just a second. So this commenter had read some disturbing Google reviews posted a few years ago and said to council, maybe things have changed since then, but practices of discrimination and exploitation should be thoroughly investigated. Next, 2 representatives from Peckham were there, including Teresa Hampel, the Director of Quality and Compliance. And these folks came up to talk about why they were applying to the city of Lansing for nonprofit status. And it was because they want a gambling license through the Michigan Lottery Charitable Gambling Division to hold a raffle for giving holiday presents to their employees. And they did not acknowledge the public comment.
Interesting.
Yes.
Yes, interesting.
Council member Pelivanoglou says, well, so what? You're already doing a raffle, but you still want this license? And they were like, yes, that is correct. We want it to be bigger and better. So I think there's probably some like threshold amount that you have to have this license to be able to give away, like, I don't know, so much monies of things.
That's interesting. I didn't know that.
Yeah, me neither. So that passed unanimously. No other questions. Then we had Brian Height, a civil engineer with the Public Service Department, and he's reviewing construction planned at a pump station on Lansing Avenue, which is just a very small residential street in North Ward 4, where North MLK Jr. crosses the Grand River. So, Public Services are upgrading an existing facility to meet state environmental requirements for wet weather containment, big rains. And they would like council's approval to have noisy construction on Saturdays this November and December. Council member Hussein says, excuse me, I have found a typo in your documentation.
Oh, no.
In one place, it says from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., and in another, it says 8 a.m. to 4:30. And Engineer Height says, oops, I think we had changed it to 4:30 because of the low light in the winter times. It's getting darker earlier. So they amend that from 5 to 4:30 p.m. where applicable, and that all passes through. There's a brief closed session to discuss wage negotiations between the city and United Auto Workers Union. They come back with a $1.50 per hour increase in base salary across the board for anyone in this union, not a percentage or anything, and both parties have apparently agreed to it.
Okay.
So,
do we know what city employees are part of the union, the UAW?
I do not.
Okay, I'm curious about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Look into that.
That would be interesting because I think there are a number of different unions.
Oh yeah.
That are represented by city employees. Yeah, that would be interesting to know, like how many and what divisions they're in.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I come from a big union family, so I'm like, oh, that's pretty interesting.
Okay,
yeah.
Nice, very cool. Then there was a long break, because that was only an 18-minute meeting. But always nice to see people filtering in. And so a lot of people arrived, which was great to see. And it's always kind of like, ooh, what are these folks?
What's the topic? Yeah. What are people excited to talk about tonight? Yeah, right.
Yeah. And I think it was even before the meeting started, President Koss said to the audience, he stated that item number 20 on the agenda had been moved until the next meeting in 2 weeks. And there were a few groans in the audience.
The collective groan, yeah.
And so I think it was that item that most of the folks were there to talk about. And that was for rescinding a make safe or demolish order for a building on South Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. And that's just west of the Supreme Court building, like very much in the downtown area. Mm-hmm. So the meeting got started, and Councilmember Hussein gave a remembrance for Terry McCain, a former Lansing mayor, councilman, and high school teacher. McCain passed in August, and I was a little surprised that no one had brought this up before this October meeting.
Right.
So, not sure. I was like kind of looking into him because somebody I had chit-chatted with at previous meetings was like, oh, there was some controversy. And I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Councilmember Hussein also had some remembrances for a few other South Lansing community leaders. So, sorry to hear folks passing. Then there was a brief award ceremony for the 2025 Citizens Academy graduates.
Hey, congrats to the graduates.
Yeah. Then this is a very cool program that the Department of Neighborhoods runs to help people who are interested better understand the government and what's happening.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a really fun program. I actually went through it a couple of years ago. And so if people are thinking about it, they really should do it.
Yeah. Hint, hint. What's the like number one standout thing that you remember learning in the program?
Let's see. Well, you get to go to you get to see different parts of the city like that you wouldn't see as a citizen. And so I think getting to see City Hall, like the basement of City Hall and the top floor, that was really, really cool. We went to the wastewater treatment plant. Yeah, and it was a really fun time, and the folks at I think it's a DNANCE they call it.
Oh yeah,
yeah, they're great. They're really intentional about the planning and the training and everything, and so I'm glad to see folks are still doing the training and becoming city
gurus.
Yeah, city gurus. And some folks go on to like be part of commissions and boards and even council. So
yeah,
it's a cool little program.
I feel like very empowering, probably.
Absolutely. Yeah. You feel like you know more, like that you can do a little. I mean, you can.
Yeah.
You can.
The more you know.
The more you know.
President Cost was commending all of them, and he had been on the wastewater tour, so it sounded like that was fun for him. And he said he was looking forward to the day when some of those folks were up on council. So that was nice. Then there were 2 board appointments. And the first was for Chris Klein of the Lansing Economic Development Corporation, and he was joining the Downtown Lansing Inc. board. Good times. And next was for Jeremy Matthews joining the South MLK Jr. Boulevard Corridor Improvement Authority Board. And Councilmember Garza was introducing him, and he got a laugh with his joke about so great to see so many Jeremys.
I missed that one.
That's like the first joke I've heard from Garza. So, stick your neck out there. Right. Jeremy Matthews apparently manages an apartment building along South MLK. And Councilmember Hussein said in committee when they were looking at his appointment, Hussein was blown away by the vision that Matthews had for the corridor and planned to address predatory businesses. Councilmember Cost echoed this about the predatory businesses, and he appreciated the perspective of Matthews, someone who has seen the effects of these predatory businesses. So it wasn't like 100% sure what those were. Like,
that's
liquor?
what I wanted to get the notes.
Yes.
What are these predatory businesses?
Yeah.
It is really, I'm always so inspired when I hear some of the council members talk about like being really impressed by some of these interviews. I'm like, so these are the people we want to be looking to, like, really passionate about the city. And so I'm like, yeah, he's someone to keep an eye on.
Yeah, keep our eyes on Jeremy.
Yeah, the Jeremy Matthews,
Jeremy
right?
Matthews, you got it.
And Garza, I guess.
It's nice to see not just a whole host of Bryans, get those Jeremys in there too.
Yeah.
Next, we had council members mentioning their constituent contact meetings. Cost mentioned the Mod Pod meetings. So this is from previous council meetings. The council had approved the purchase of 50 temporary housing units that are these Mod Pods they're talking about. And now they need to figure out what they're going to do with them. So the meetings, they're discussing how they will be run. And there's one more that's happening this week, and President Cost encouraged folks to go. Clerk Swope is back after a 2-week-long trip to the continent, sources say, and he reminds folks to turn in their absentee ballots for this election next Tuesday, November 4th. He says, or you can vote early over the weekend. You can vote on Election Day. Just do it, everyone. Mark Lawrence, on behalf of the mayor, has a few comments. He says the Lansing Economic Development Corporation is closing up their Empower program for small business applicants soon, so get your application there. The city has entered a memo of understanding with maintenance worker unions for a training program to try to get more folks to stay in these maintenance jobs with the city. And that Michigan Avenue is back online, and Pleasant Grove Road will be soon as well. President Cost says, please, everyone, go to the Michigan Ave businesses. And then there is the funniest moment of the meeting, when Councilmember Brown is reviewing the city pump station noise permit request that they had discussed at the meeting of the whole, and President Cost reminds him that they've updated the times from 8 to 4:30, not 5, and Brown said, I did say 5, or I did say 4:30, and Cost is like, no, you didn't. First person to give a public comment is like, that was awkward.
And there was definitely a lot of laughter. Like, yes. I think we all kind of felt it like, whoops.
So nice for the public to get their jokes in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, so the public comments on agenda items. So this first comment was about red tagging in general, saying that there should be different rules for individual property owners versus landlords. We should be more lenient towards people who are not having like huge swaths of properties. And then we did have an individual property landowner come up. And she is the owner of the property on South Martin Luther King Boulevard, and she was talking about her story and how she is making progress on this property, has already done a ton of work, but it's a slow process. She has a vision and wants to do things right, but needs some more time. Please stop the make safe or demolish order. Mm-hmm. And then a bunch more people came up in support of her. Some of her kids, grandkids, friends, neighbors, pastor, a contractor she's worked with. Like 40 people were there.
Those comments were like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Because I was looking at the time like, wow, this is a lot of support.
Yeah.
A lot of support, yeah.
And tons more people who didn't comment, I think.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like, could you imagine getting 40 of your friends to show up to a council meeting to talk on your behalf?
That was pretty cool.
This person has a community behind her.
For sure.
So amazing to see. Yeah. There was one more awkward TV moment, I thought, when the pastor repeatedly asked council if he could get an amen. Yeah. A few were like, okay, amen, go. Then also the building contractor who was helping her out said that this was a very structurally sound. This is very structurally sound, a lot better than many of the new land bank houses that go up because he's had personal experience with those.
I was very surprised to hear that. That seemed kind of like shots fired a little bit, but yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I'm going to give the Best Dressed Award to one of the commenters. And let me know if you agree. So this one person came up and she had like a dark mauve or brown leopard print overcoat and a scarlet red turtleneck, thick black horn rim glasses, and a knitted black beret.
Oh, yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Very, very stylish. Mm-hmm. Yes.
I thought Councilman Carter was also looking pretty stylish with sort of a flowy forest green getup.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah. And so there was a cute TV moment when a grandkid was up there at the mic and President Cost said, "You can pull that mic down, buddy."
Got to be able to hear you.
And we could hear. He did pull it down and he spoke well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that was great. And then Councilmember Carter talks up a new legislative analyst that the council has hired and all of his years of experience already at the state level. So looking forward to Luke Bingham joining the team. Council prepared a bunch of hearings for the next meeting about designating a few commercial properties as obsolete for the purposes of the Obsolete Property Rehabilitation Act to get some tax breaks. And those were along South MLK Jr., and also in Rio Town, just north of the Rusty Mug. There was a change in land use for a property in Old Town to become an adult foster care home, and 4 show of cause hearings to make safe or demolish other properties. So those are all going to be hearings in the next meetings.
Right.
Then there was a bit of pedantic legislative business. There was some error in the way that a recent ordinance change was administratively handled. So get that Luke Bingham in here. It was an ordinance change around amending the bidding process for city contracts, which we've heard about, it seems like forever. Mm-hmm. Councilmember Jackson maintains his no vote on this because he's not sure that the scoring system is fair, but he didn't get into that. But what Councilmember Hussein did get into was what it means for something to be put into immediate effect. So I think he maybe had been going through the charter and like trying to like really understand what was going on, which great. And so he brought this up like kind of for the benefit of the group. So he's like, okay, attorney and clerk, what does it really mean when council says that the ordinance change has gone into immediate effect? And Clerk Swope says, yes. So we have to post the verbiage of the ordinance change in a newspaper that has general circulation. And the clerk's office is in charge of this, and we do it in generally the City Pulse, which is a weekly newspaper. And we do it after council has approved the ordinance, and then the mayor, whoever, gets a few days to veto it if they want. So they clerk has to wait to make sure the mayor's okay with it.
Right.
So it's usually like 9 days later when it's posted in the City Pulse, whether or not council has voted for it to be immediate effect or not. And then technically, I guess after that posting, it goes into immediate effect.
Yeah. So now they're going to call it, are they going to change it to be something else that's not immediate effect? Or what did Council Member Hussein say? Sort of immediate effect?
Yeah, I think he was like generally immediate effect, and then somewhat immediate effect.
Somewhat immediate effect, yeah.
Yes.
Because it just made me think about all of those times that they voted for immediate effect, and like maybe any of those entities or people that would be directly impacted by that if they were like under the impression, like one particular business that was like going to be open that night, and there was this back and forth about, and it was immediate effect, but it wouldn't have really impacted them because there's nothing going out. So I'm glad that was cleared up for the general public and the body, as Councilmember Hussein said.
Yeah.
I learned quite a bit in that discussion.
I guess it's like this sort of thing, though. Like, what happens for the two new council members who come in who maybe weren't at this meeting? Like,
that's true.
Like, how do we keep this knowledge rolling over?
Well, hopefully they have a pretty decent onboarding process. Yeah, I'm always curious about those things.
Yes, so they talked about that, and they passed this updated bidding ordinance with the somewhat immediate effect. So, great. Looking forward to reading about that in the Pulse in 9 days. And next, we're to public comments about city things that were not related to this meeting's agenda. So this one is kind of rough. If you have little kids listening, you might want to switch it off for the next 5 minutes. All right. A Fourth Ward constituent tells a harrowing story about how her son was enrolled in a Parks and Rec archery program at the Letts Community Center through an independent contractor. And the coach, I guess after one practice, the white male coach showed her a rope tied into a noose that she could, quote, use on her son to lynch him. And she stated that this was super upsetting to her and her child is the only Black kid who is currently enrolled in the program. 3 other folks spoke in support of this person's story, including a council hopeful, asking for an investigation into the incident and the contractor / coach to be terminated.
Yeah, I was really surprised to hear about that incident, and I do think I am curious to see what council is going to do about it or what's going to become of it, because it's pretty unacceptable. And I was really my heart goes out to the person that came and made the comment about the incident. Yeah. I'm really glad she was able to come in and speak out, because that. Another speaker cautioned about impending financial crises for our community, including the end of the SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Food Stamps Program, benefits that will be ending next month due to the federal shutdown, projected increase in health care costs, over 30% for folks on Affordable Care Act plans, the unhoused population being subject to freezing temperatures, and this person asks, what's the plan, council? And also cautions that the Mod Pod plans have a lot of restrictions for who can be in them, and this is not great. And also, council, can you please review the Tenants' Bill of Rights that we have sent to you and the attorney back in June? A citizen who has been engaged in bicycle advocacy for many years says this will be his last meeting as a Lansing resident. The city has completely failed with the Michigan Ave redesign, and
he was heartbroken.
Yeah, I was kind of heartbroken to hear that comment too, because, we have our I think a lot of people have their public commenter faves. They were one of my faves, especially just being able to advocate for pedestrian safety. As someone who uses the bus and has to walk quite frequently, I always appreciated somebody that was really advocating for that. And so I was sad to hear that they were deciding that they couldn't be connected with the city anymore.
Yeah, that's a great point. Like when you're up there giving your talk, you don't know how many people you're really reaching.
Right.
Like even though it seems like you're just in that room talking to those council members, like other people are paying attention.
For sure. Yeah.
There was a comment pushing for a community center in Ward 2, and also an Eaton County Lansing resident who is dissatisfied with the proposed charter changes, and she says that these changes don't give more power to the people. She wants to see the city attorney as an elected position. She wants to rein in the Board of Water and Light's power to raise prices, and wants to see the council exercise their rights of free speech when it comes to the charter changes. That was an interesting comment.
Yeah, that definitely impassioned for sure.
And there was the charter member in the audience who spoke at a previous meeting very passionately, but this time did not.
Right. Did not say anything this meeting.
Yes. Two more speakers. One was appalled with the sweeping of the Diedrich Park encampment and talked about her experience with a rental property where it was flooded with sewage and she did not get any sort of temporary housing assistance. This person was also very passionate and asked for eye contact from the council members.
Yeah, that's true.
The last speaker thanked council for their LGBTQ plus welcoming city resolution from the last meeting and went on to discuss additional measures that could be done to support the community, like stopping over-policing marginalized people, stop supporting organizations that discriminate, like the City Rescue Mission they mentioned, and to set up a specific crisis hotline for LGBTQ plus folks to call into that would not contact the police. Any more thoughts about the meeting?
Yeah, I think, like I said, it was really interesting to see all of the folks come and support people getting rallied for a cause. I mean, I know we see that with a lot of different things. And yeah.
It's nice to see all their Lansing faces. So for all of you Patreon supporters out there, you will receive an issue map with the locations discussed in the meeting, as well as the results of this week's bingo. And these excellent perks, if they're sounding exciting to you, you can join the podcast Patreon page.
You really should. You really should.
Thank you for being a podcast Patreon.
Yes, absolutely. It's my favorite.
Good. Our next council meetings will be in 2 weeks is that right? 2 weeks, some sort of weeks from now on November 10th. And our guest will be Alan Fox. He works as the Ingham County Treasurer. So get your money questions ready. Do you have any shout outs for anything you want to discuss?
Well, definitely people sign up for the Patreon. And if you're feeling a little left out because you don't know what's going on with the meetings, you can always watch them online on YouTube. And I will say that Citizens Academy is a pretty good deal. I kind of like it. I hadn't thought about it for a while, but with last night's graduation, I think it's a really cool program. And I think people would really enjoy it. So
is it free?
It's absolutely free. Whoa. And they feed you dinner.
Yeah.
I think it's I think it's I forget the number of weeks, but you go on like a Tuesday night and you have dinner and you get to learn cool stuff, and then you get to know about the city.
Friends.
Yeah, make some new. It's good networking because you have different people with different interests, and it's pretty cool. I still know a few folks from my cohort, so
that's great.
Definitely look into that and visit our parks.
Yeah,
visit our parks
there, for sure. All right. Thank you so much, Annescia, for being on the podcast.
Sure.
And thank you to the Public Media Center for letting us record with you. And thank you all for listening.
Yay.
Yay.